could not be prouder to have our program represented with us today by two of its graduates. Cheryl Brown, who is the CEO of ZealRiver Technologies, and I also have a graduate from North Alabama, Taliba Bales. She is the founder and CEO of TMB Tax and Financial Services. And they are two of the most incredibly accomplished entrepreneurs that I've met. And I've been so blessed to be on the sidelines, to be a cheerleader for them and watch their journey. And I want to thank them both for being with us today to share more about themselves, their businesses, and their journeys of growth. And I'd like to start with the two of you by asking each of you to introduce yourselves and your businesses to our conference attendees. Taliba, would you lead us off? And then Cheryl, would you follow? Of course.
Absolutely. Okay. My name is Taliba. As Lisa mentioned, I'm the founder and CEO of TNB Tax and Financial Services, as well as the Bankable CEO. And in short, what I do is I help business owners get their financial paperwork in order so that they can become bankable, meaning accomplish their financial goals through tax services, bookkeeping, applying for loans, applying for grants. It's definitely been an incredible journey with Emerging Leaders class, so I'm happy to be here today.
Good morning, Cheryl Rogers. I am the CEO of ZealRiver Technologies. We are an information technology company supporting the Department of Defense as well as education services for the state of Alabama. Pleased to be here today.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much. But how about you? Tell us how you got started as an entrepreneur.
Well, I'll pull from family as well. Cheryl and I definitely have a similar background. I worked for the federal government for 15 years before I left Birmingham, pursued my own grown-up life. Parents were small business owners as I grew up. Mom helped business owners just like I do now. She worked for a firm that actually had a satellite contract with the Minority Business Development Administration. And so taxes. She helped business owners understand and navigate the importance of having their financial paperwork in order. And then my father owned an office supply company in downtown Birmingham. So after school, me and my sister and brother, we were either in my mom's office or my dad's office supply company. So we truly grew up understanding what grit was all about, understanding the entrepreneurial journey is not always shiny and bright, but really lit a passion and an understanding for me because I knew that that's what I wanted to do. But of course, we have our checklist in life as to what we wanted to do. So after I graduated high school, I chose to go to Fisk University in Nashville, got my bachelor's, went to DC, got my master's. I said I wanted to work for the federal government. I wanted to do politics. So I worked on Capitol Hill for 3 years, and then I worked for the Department of Justice for 12 years and couldn't just ignore the calling to be a full-time entrepreneur. And so I had the opportunity to move back home to Birmingham, have an extremely strong support system. And I said, now is the time for me to be obedient to what I believe my calling is, and that's genuinely helping others and connecting with others as it relates to the financials of their business. So I stepped into the mold that my parents built for me, and things have been wonderful.
Let me ask you a follow-on to that, Taliba. You obviously have entrepreneurship in your DNA. And, nature versus nurture, you have it in both nature and in your upbringing, like you were talking about.
Mhm.
And so there are a lot of things that I know you learned watching your family members with their companies. And you talked about having that grit, that scrappiness, the hardworking attitude,
Mhm.
combining what you've learned in the community, your continuing education, and what you learned from your family.
Mhm.
What are the skills and talents that you've used specifically to achieve results and to grow your business? And if you would break those down from a startup business
Mhm.
to where you are as a seasoned entrepreneur now.
I think I would start with, learning how to fail. I mean, that's what I mean by grit and understanding that the choice to be an entrepreneur is not an easy choice. It is a choice in which, especially for me, 100% entrepreneur, and we say, will be killed. So when you do that, it's a constant refining process. And you have to make sure that your circle of support is pouring into you and not draining you. And so when life happens and you fail, something that you planned, has now popped up and you don't like it. I've had to learn it and be an expert in my own business from the startup phase all the way to where I am now is to use those failures as opportunities. And so I really, in speaking with my clients, I say opportunities. Here is an opportunity for us to improve that particular event that caused you to momentarily pause. And so because we're in the space of financials, also includes getting to the point where you are able to be vulnerable with a trusted partner. And that's really going to be at the startup point. It's okay that you don't know the answers to everything. You want to start your business because you're really good at baking or at selling t-shirts or at whatever that particular passion is that now has you have the crown of entrepreneurship. But running the business is often kind of separate. Like we just, really think about that. So you have to be vulnerable and say, I don't know what the heck is going on. And so we get a lot of conversations about, yeah, I don't know how I should be filing this on my taxes. I have a product, like what sales tax? How do I do it? So, be ready to ask those questions. And then, again, just being obedient and diligent to your commitment to success to actually implement the advice that people give you to, unswaddle the baby, I like to say. So now that you've unswaddled the baby, have that circle of trust, then you want to, take in the guidance that you're getting and just stick to executing it.
I love that. I love that. Absolutely. And as Talib said, life does happen. And as we are running our own businesses, and I've encountered this myself running businesses, you will hit times where you just don't quite know what to do, or where you didn't get the contract, or where things have arisen, obstacles or what have you, and you have to find a way around them. So what are some lessons you've learned from potholes, and how has that helped you to overcome and to grow?
So the pandemic can be the most challenging time. How I how I've been able to persevere during those downtimes. I utilize all the resources available to me to succeed. So, for instance, with some of the proposals that I submitted, if I did not win that work, or if I submitted a request for information and I did not receive a direct award, I actually reached out to the customer and I asked the question, what what is it that you need that I didn't address? Or why did I lose that particular opportunity? So I've been successful at getting that feedback from the customer in a debrief form. And we actually had those casual conversations to help me grow. So the next proposal, I addressed that simple requirement that I didn't meet from the initial submission. So I was able to readdress some of the issues and win work just based on a conversation, constant communication, and telling me what I did wrong. Say, having key listening skills will certainly help you achieve a lot of your goals. So listening to the customer and addressing their concerns helped me move to that next level.
Absolutely. And looking at that, you had asked me to clarify the question whether it was pre-pandemic or during the pandemic. And I know we're focusing a lot on the new now, the new normal, and what we're doing. But can you share with us a little bit about the different stages of your growth and leadership that you've gone through in your entrepreneurial journey, and how you would describe your leadership style now as you've adapted over this time period?
Yeah.
But how about you? What are the stages of growth that you feel that you've gone through? And what have some of your challenges been, regarding, especially during this pandemic and the new normal that we're operating under, in terms of catalyzing innovation and change within your business?
Okay. So during the pandemic, I generated more revenue than I ever had. That's because I successfully pivoted and met the need most business owners were experiencing, which was helping to navigate through PPP and EIDL, and then realizing you don't have your financial paperwork in order, but you're still trying to stay open. So my firm definitely fitted. But to be honest with you and transparent, hair was on fire when I was in the emerging leaders class. And every time we were in our EO circles, like I just laid myself on and like, y'all help. I mean, because we were scaling and growing and helping, and my hair was on fire. And so I give that transparency because there are business owners that are probably on the call right now that feel the same way. That is, some people will say, oh, well, that's a good problem to have. I don't know about that. Like, yes, there's, plenty of opportunity, like beating down your door, you to able to, as far as clients, for you to be able to work with, but my systems were not there. And so like I said, that's what I mean by my hair was on fire. But fortunately, with mentorship of folks in the program, and well as opportunities here locally to partner with organizations, I like, in a baseball metaphor, I crossed the safe plate into success, shortly before graduating Emerging Leaders class. So I do want to say also, when it comes to my business and what I believe, that, it's always a refining process. And I'm sure that Cheryl will agree with this as well. You could be in the success phase and then in the takeoff phase, and possibly like a whole bunch of contracts come your way. And then now you're like, oh, it's really about putting your action plan on paper, and literally writing it out. And then again, identifying the resources and the people who can pour into your vision and who will be open and honest with you and stretch you a way in which, after that whole uncomfortable moment, you're then having that clear vision, and you graduate from working, in your business to on your business. So
I love that you're being so open and vulnerable in saying, look, my hair was on fire.
yeah.
I didn't have my systems in place. I didn't have my processes, my infrastructure in place. And I think so many entrepreneurs have had that as a challenge over the last couple of years. And it's honestly a challenge for a lot of entrepreneurs, whether we were under a pandemic or not. They're busy doing their business as opposed to what I call scaling internally, which is setting up that infrastructure, making sure that you have capacity to do all of the types of things in your business that you need to do, whether it's the financials, the marketing, the customer outreach, any of that kind of stuff. But I love that you admitted how crazy things were for you. And one of the things that consistently comes up over and over again is, how do we deal with that? How do we balance career when you are the chief cook, bottle washer, visioneer, everything for the business, your personal life, your personal passions that you want to engage in? Is there such a thing as balance? And what are some practical applications you can share with our conference attendees?
So I believe that it's a mindset, that you have to establish for survival of yourself. Wake up call was when I actually contracted COVID, the original version. I don't know, it's so many different strains. And it's a horrible experience that I never want anyone to experience at all. Like, I felt like my lung capacity might have been at 20%. Even talking about it, I feel like I can't breathe. And it was pretty devastating for me, because at that point, I just had a smaller team. And so I was not focusing on healing myself because I was so concerned about helping my clients. And to be honest with you, there were a couple of clients that after I healed, I had to fire because I didn't believe that they acknowledged that I was sick. So when I say that you have to get into a mindset of yes, I am serving the community in this capacity of what your business is, but if I'm not around and I'm not healthy, then what? And so I had to learn how to say, when I leave this office or when I close this laptop, I am done for the day. And, that's it. Because I know that whatever I have accomplished in that day was my 100% effort. And so, therefore, when I say I am done and it is time to rest, because I have two young girls, and so it's more so like you have to establish those boundaries because when you're serving, sometimes people just want you to keep serving regardless of the health that you even have. so so yeah, for me it was to have some type of balance, and I've got to understand that if I don't put myself before my mental health, my physical health before, then no one can do that like I can because it's me. And so I had to just completely switch my mindset.
They say if you are not healthy enough and well enough to care for yourself, you can't care for other
Yeah.
people and you can't care for your business.
Mhm.
So thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you for sharing the concept of having had to fire a client,
Mhm.
because sometimes you do have to take a look at what is the cost of the business versus the return on that investment with the client. And I know when we're brand new starting out with our businesses, we're chasing the checks.
Mhm.
We're doing whatever we can to get the business. But as you begin to build those systems for yourself and to build up a client base, then you can take a look and go, okay, what is my return on the investment that I have in my clients? Absolutely. And how about you, Taliba? What do you want to achieve next for yourself?
I have so many things on my list. I have so many things on my list. Well, I guess, one of the things that I had written down actually in the strategic growth plan was securing more office space, so that I am able to bring in a physical group of folks to work full time versus remote. And we signed the lease yesterday. So we have new office space now, and have my mom in my space, and her taking on some of the profit clients that we work with. It just serves so many purposes. We're expanding, and then I also get to work with my mom and my sister often. So that has definitely been something that I wanted to do, and we just recently did it.
Oh, that is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. So I'd like to thank our participants who have come, Taliba and Cheryl. I'm proud of you and I'm proud for you. You're two of the hardest working entrepreneurs that I've ever met. And it's again been a privilege to sit on the sidelines and kind of be your cheerleader and watch your growth over the past years. Your conversations today, very candid, very open, very honest. I think for each of the participants, including myself, these are things that we need to hear us along the way. Even though I run the Small Business Development Center and I'm constantly working with small businesses that come through my door, and I listen about some of the things that I tell them and some things that I myself find that I need to have that accountability checker to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right, because we have a tendency of not really minding. I always refer to it our business, and as sometimes some various different things, and very uniquely women, we have so many different things, and men do too. I say this all the time because I watch my husband, as busy as he's with a school teacher, and then he comes home and he's also with the National Guard, and he goes out and he has to do all the things in the yard work and everything else, still maintain these things. So they have equally just some things that we have to do. But children, cooking, work, I was listening to Liba and I said, you know, your story about the accountability checker. So when my kids were smaller and I was running my business, that was mine. Son came to me, he said to me one day, he said, Mom, you're here with us, but you're not here with us. And it was like a wake up call for me because I really was there, but I was on the computer all the time and I was still doing something yet and still I'm cooking dinner, putting the channels on for them to watch, but I wasn't really there with them. So I needed that checker because I needed to have that person, those little bodies tell me that this is my their time and it's about work-life balance. And it's so important for us to